Hi, and welcome to Hello Retail Conversations. We have a really special episode today. We're doing something different today. We have an internal guest, a colleague of mine, Sarah Miguel Cournane. And we're doing this special episode because we just launched a new product just this week. So it's a super special week at Hello Retail. We're very, very excited to push a new product called Product Agents out to the market. And we felt it was timely to have a conversation about the data science behind the new product. There's a ton going on sort of underneath the hood in Product Agents when it comes to the product intelligence data we use and a lot of proprietary AI that is involved to make the product do what it does. So again, welcome to you, Sarah. This is going to be a special episode where we sort of present more and talk more about what's going on in data science in terms of the new product called Product Agents. So yeah, welcome.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a very cool project. So,
yeah, totally.
Gladly to talk about it.
Nice. Can you just start by telling us a little bit more about your role? What do you do on a normal Friday morning?
Well, I'm a data scientist here at Hello Retail. I work in the research and development department, and depending on the day, well, I work on different projects or different reports, but I said broadly speaking, I would say I look 50% into the past, what has happened and why. And the other 50% is deciding on the future. So yeah, like in e-commerce, there's big events such as Black Friday or Christmas or sales. And I try and figure out what helps, what have customers interacted with, what do users buy, why, when, and try and figure out why. And also things that relate to our solutions. Like, for example, we just launched retail media recently. So trying to study the different campaigns, which worked, which didn't, where do we have to improve. Then that's a bit the past I keep on looking at. And then with all of that knowledge, then we figure out what we need to do in the near future. Yeah. So I never live in the present.
No. You have a pretty substantial academic background as well. Can you talk just a little bit about that? What you were up to before you joined Hello Retail?
So I have a background in mathematics. I started in Spain. I'm from Spain, and there, I was more focused in the math part of it. I was not so much into programming there, but then I had to do an internship in a company, and that's where in Madrid, and that's where I started in this AI world, and I got more and more into it, and so I then went into this program. It was like a scholarship, and I spent 1 year in Japan working in a research center, and that was my big encounter with artificial intelligence and machine learning, deep learning, we used to call it more back then. And so I decided that I wanted to focus more on that path. And I came to Denmark when I was 18, and I was fooled by the weather. I got like 30 degrees. It was incredible. And I said, I really want to live here. So I saw that DTU had this business analytics, which would let me focus on artificial intelligence, but more applied to business. And that's what I did. I combined it with being a research teacher assistant for one of the subjects. I did a really cool thesis about a fashion bot, I called it. And that's more or less my knowledge. I worked in another company before doing data science, and now I'm here at Hello Retail.
Nice. There's obviously a ton of AI chatter in e-commerce and in all of tech at the moment. I always felt myself that Hello Retail is quite special when it comes to the to how advanced and our proprietary AI is. Which is again why we wanted to talk to you today about what goes on inside the belly of product intelligence and our new product agents. But sort of before we get to that, I wanted to hear your view on AI in e-commerce as a whole. How do you see the field? How has it emerged, or where do you see it going? What are your thoughts?
I think e-commerce has been one of the sectors that applies AI as fast as possible. We've been one of the first ones to add recommendation systems, or the thing is, AI is a term that started recently. Before, we used to call it collaborative filtering or machine learning. So it came in different names, but it's under the same topic. So yes, I think e-commerce has very soon leverage all this recommendation system or search or not just so, also in stock and in inventory and logistics. They've been one of, I'm not going to say the first one to apply because I don't know who was there first, but yeah, they've always been very keen on leveraging everything they could. And now we can see it with generative AI. All these examples I said were more predictive AI, trying to figure out what is going to happen and who is going to buy what and what's going to be the next trend. That's more predictive AI. Whereas now we're seeing like a boom in generative AI, which is like ChatGPT or Sora, all of these ones. And I think e-commerce is, I can see it in Hello Retail, the retail media product we launched, and product agents now. It has combined both. It's not competition between predictive and generative. I think the combination of both is what is going to give more interesting products and solutions. So yeah, I think.
What about if you talk with other data scientists? Well, what's the hot topic at the moment when it comes to a sort of use of AI in e-commerce on a deeper level? And it's totally okay to sort of geek out and talk about some of the more advanced concepts that you're applying.
I think if I talk to other data science is a science that you can apply to many places. So I have a bunch of friends from my master's or my bachelor's, and we all work in different sectors. And I think one of the things we like the most is how fast we can go from an idea to a product. So before, you would have to spend a lot more time in the code itself and debugging and fixing, and whereas now from an idea to a solution is way faster and is way more interactive, I would say. So in that sense, we're happy about that part. And when it comes to e-commerce, I think we do feel that everything goes fast, so it's like a race. And you launch something and you have to be thinking about the next one. It's kind of like a breathtaking race, and obviously everyone wants to be at the top. So yeah, it's nice to be fast, but it also comes with ideas must come quicker, and you have to be more creative, and you have to be willing to try more things faster.
What if you went even deeper than that when it comes to sort of more substantial or sort of hardcore aspects of the kind of AI that you're applying in your role here at Hello Retail? What's the most interesting part right now?
Adding AI right now is a must. It's not I should or maybe. It's absolutely a must. So we had to learn how to work with it. There's a lot of testing, verifying, checking that the results are correct. Yes, it helps, it improves, but there's always like a 5% or a 10% that doesn't work. What do you do with that 10%? How do you find out that what percentage is not accurate enough? Where do you put the trade-off? All the data that you can gather now. There's also a big now that the part of the models itself is way faster and way more approachable. Then there's all the part of gathering all the data and understanding it, and the analysis you can do. You can do way further, deeper analysis. And
no, but I can relate to that from the marketing side that I work in. I suddenly look at code all day long, basically, and vibe coding all sorts of stuff for us in marketing to sort of automate more of what we do. What's been super fascinating for me lately is that I don't only get to 80%, I actually get to 100% with the projects I'm doing. So that's been a profound change when it comes to AI on the marketing side, that all of a sudden it's not just interesting concepts or a little bit of help here and there. We can come from sort of idea to finished new piece of software that we use in marketing completely to 100% sort of production grade. We can use it to build websites and so forth. So I guess it's sort of the same, that it's come to that maturity in AI where it gets the last 20% as well. Is that
yes,
correctly
I
understood?
think, yeah, that's I completely agree with that. And also before it was more like you used AI to verify what you're doing, and now you kind of verify what AI does for you. So so there has been a change there too in the way we work with it. It's only been there for not so long, and the way we interact with it keeps changing.
Yeah.
So
Cool. We need to talk about product intelligence because it's in so many ways the sort of the foundation of product agents. Hello Retail, we've spent, I don't know, 5 years or so building product intelligence, our proprietary AI. So if you were to sort of explain that to someone who doesn't know too much about it, what is product intelligence?
product intelligence is about knowing the behavior around a product. So this comes from when you're working in e-commerce, you're working with the customers and you're working with users. And generally speaking, there is a percentage of people that don't mind to be tracked and they allow cookies. However, there is a part that do not want their data shared. So, but customers still want personalization. So how do we work around that? Well, if I don't know who you are, I need to know what you buy. They still want personalization, but they don't want to say who the person is. Then what we do is we say, okay, then what's more impersonal than a bottle of water? It's the product itself is not a person, so we can study the relation between the different products and how they correlate between them, how they interact between them, who is bought together with what, who is not bought together with who. So in that sense, if you think in the end about e-commerce, it's a big matrix of people, users in the columns, and products in the rows. So sometimes we're not able to track down the users. So instead of looking at what you've bought and what will you buy, we look at the product itself. And if you bought this product, then you're most likely to buy this others that also correspond. So yeah, I think product intelligence is all about product behavior and how products interact with each other. So when a user comes in, then we don't need to know who you are. We just need to know what products you interact with, and we already have a feeling. We don't need to know who you are. We just need to know what is it you want.
When I look at our product intelligence data, I'm super fascinated sometimes by how a seemingly similar product has very, very different purchasing patterns than another adjacent product. So we know an awful lot in the data about the purchasing patterns for every single product and their categories. And I always just felt that it's a total gold mine for e-commerce stores when it comes to knowing when to promote a product or knowing what products to recommend and so forth. So how does all of that sort of function behind the scenes in data science? Can you sort of reveal bits and pieces about what's actually going on for us to have that data, analyze it, and sort of make it useful?
when we talk about product behavior, is the machinery behind it is creating a vector space. If a product has a number, and for that shop, this product is number 1010. But in our vector system, this product is a point in our database. Our vector system has like more than 700 dimensions, so it's a bit difficult to imagine. But what we do is represent this product is not anymore product number 10. For us, is a black T-shirt for men to do sports. So if it's part of a cluster. This way, when, for example, this shop has a new product number 20, and is also a black T-shirt that does for men who run, then it will be in the same cluster. This way, all the information we had from product 10 can be shared with product 20 because they have the same characteristics. They are in the same vector space, the same spot in our vector space. So, for example, one of the biggest problems of looking at user behavior is the cold start, is what we call cold start. And is that when a new customer comes in, we know nothing about it. It's like when you start dating someone, like you don't know if they're sporty, if they have brothers, I don't know, like you know nothing about that person and you have to figure it out. Well, this is what happens with many web shops that we work with. Like new customers come in frequently and we know nothing about them. However, this does not happen with products. If you add a new product to your catalog, we know who is similar with, and if you're similar to another product, then all the information we have with this other product, you can share it with your new one. So this way, when a new customer comes in, we look with just a few clicks or views, we see what products they're interested in. And these products, they'll have relationships, they'll have correlations. So we're moving...
That we know from basically the collective data set from thousands of stores and so forth.
Exactly, from that vector space. So all the connections that that product has with that other people have made, then we can apply them to you. So we don't really need to know who you are. We just need to know the product you look at, and we can figure out a lot of information from you. So we can still personalize your shopping interaction, but we don't have to know who are you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Another thing is that we see that our web shops is 30% of the products that bring 80% of the revenue. So there are
across the board for all
our
stores
customers
that we sort of have data from.
Yeah, it is true that we have a very broad selection of customers in the sense there's people who sell boats and people who sell clothes. So we do have a broad overview of but yeah, the general numbers.
Markets,
But in general numbers, 30% of the products bring 70% of the revenue. And another number that surprised us was 50% of the products that are active now, in 6 months, they will no longer be active because the inventory keeps changing so much. So all this information from the product that you gained when you had it in your store will be lost if you're not able to find the relationship between what you had and what you bring new. So it's not just about, we don't want to know who the user is because of data tracking, and it's not just about the data privacy, why we choose product intelligence. It's also because product intelligence and understanding the product behavior behind it, it gives so much knowledge to what's gonna come, and 100% you won't lose all the information you gained before.
Yeah, that makes sense. Something that really fascinates me about our new product called Product Agents is that we're sort of we're all of a sudden able to produce these brand new types of emails that you are just not able to produce in any other way, in any other system. It's a really sort of a new, emerging, innovative solution in many ways. So we've built a product that will sort of tie into your email provider, like a Klaviyo for starters, and it'll sort of enable you to send one-to-one personalized emails for the individual based on what they've been looking at, what they've been shopping in the past, that we're sort of enriching with all of our product intelligence data. So I want to explore what is going on in from a data science point of view in the new product called Product Agents. What are some of the sort of the key AI features that you've been involved with building?
So for me, this Project Agents is like the perfect mix of predictive AI and the generative AI. So in the predictive AI is all the product intelligence. We know what products the customers is gonna want and when they want to buy it. And now with all this generative AI, all those LLMs, Claude, ChatGPT, or all of these ones, we can create the content personalized to them. So we're mixing all the knowledge we gain from the product intelligence and the relations and what is brought together with what, and the upsells and how a product's related alternatives to each other with the generative AI that is coming strongly. So we mix them together in Product Agents. So as a data science, it's nice to see a mix of both worlds.
What about the product intelligence part that we talked about? Where does that sort of come into play in Product Agents?
I think thanks to our product intelligence, we're able to give way more personalized emails, but also more spot-on messages in the sense, what we talked about the inventory, that in 6 months, 50% of the inventory will have changed. So all this information from the products is lost. So if someone has bought a mascara and in 6 months this mascara is no longer available, it doesn't mean that the customer itself is not going to buy it anymore. They want to buy a different one. So with this alternative, us knowing the alternative and what are the things we can suggest them, then we can still make the customer buy mascara again in our shop. Or another case is, I think that's the one I like the most, is the price drop. Sometimes you look at a product and you're not willing to pay that price, but I would love it if they make a sale or an outlet and it dropped 20% in price, then that will be the threshold I would be likely to pay. So if I get an email saying the product you viewed has dropped in price, then it's more likely that I see it rather than if I go back again to that web shop and see that I view that product and now it decreased in price. I'm not going to do that. I want an email that makes my life a bit easier.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think one thing that fascinates me personally is that there's so much hype around shopping agents at the moment, or agentic commerce as it's sometimes called, but it's all very focused, a lot of it anyway, on the shopper and sort of helping them or giving them agents. But we're actually doing something different. We're giving the merchants agents that they can use to improve the overall sort of shopping experience for their shoppers. So it's sort of like merchant side agentic commerce, if you will. I know that you've been involved with things like adjusting tone of voice per language, which is something I wanted to talk about. I found that super fascinating to hear about. So what the product in the new Product Agents in our dashboard, you as a customer can sort of select different tones of voice to adjust the email content that is being produced. Obviously, e-commerce brands will be super keen to send out messages that don't have sort of crappy AI slob content, but messages that are really to the point in a nice language that fits their overall brand guidelines and tone of voice and everything. But I know that you sort of noticed that selecting friendly means something different in different languages, for example. So can you talk more about what that was all about? went on there?
Yes, the challenge behind it was that we have a broad selection of customers. So we have customers
in different countries, yeah.
In different countries. So when we create emails, obviously we wanted the tone of voice to align. So if you're a medical company, then you want to sound trustworthy. But if you're selling games, then you might want to sound way more friendly and approachable. So there had to be a tone alignment. What I realized, the other challenge was the languages. And I thought, okay, then it's just like, say this in a friendly version in the Spanish language. It doesn't work that way, because a friendly Spanish person is not the same as a friendly German, for example. The way we speak, or the jokes, or the slang there is in different languages is way more different if I compare Spanish to English to Danish, or even the formal one. There's in Spanish we don't really use the pronoun for your highness. No, we don't use that. But there's other languages where they do. So it's not just about this is the tone, this is the language. It's kind of a matrix in the end, because what does friendly in Spanish mean? What does friendly in German? What does formal in Swedish? There's a whole bunch of combinations that we had to take into account.
That's super interesting. What kind of data science work is going on to actually make that happen?
So it's generative AI that's creating the messages itself, but then there's lots of verification and quality testing. So manually checking what works, what doesn't, what are the problems, yes. But then when you're talking about creating 1,000 emails at a time, it is not possible to be looking at every single email in every single language. I'm not that smart. So in that sense, we had to create some verifications, when it comes to repeating words, that was one of the problems. Or sometimes when you want to make it friendly, it's too childish. That we also don't want. Sometimes when it was formal, it was too formal towards legal terms, and that we also don't want. So there's been lots of tweaks and little changes and subtle changes that made it was like a snowball, because the more restrictions you put to how the language has to sound and how the phrases should be constructed and the vocabulary you have to use, then there's less space for creativity, in the sense it doesn't want to be so friendly, it doesn't want to be so formal, because it also has to maintain all the other rules you have. So there's a bit of a trade-off going on, as in everything in life. But yeah, verifying all of that, quality testing, different languages that I don't speak.
Sure.
That's been part of the challenge.
Yeah. What about the whole sort of on the agent side? There's a ton of work going on to sort of select the right product to promote to the individual, where we obviously apply product intelligence. Could you maybe explain a little bit more about how we are now applying product intelligence in that whole process of we're discovering intent from a returning buyer. We want to maximize the revenue that we sort of allow the e-commerce business to gain from selling again and again. What's actually going on behind the scenes in terms of how do we find those products that we should sort of pair with the individual shopper?
As we know, there's different products and there's different users. So product intelligence is where it comes in handy and helps us figure out who wants what and when. So for that, you really need to understand the product you have and how it relates to the rest of products you have in your inventory. So for example, I would say there's two lines within the products. Are they consumable products, or are they are they a one-off? For example, if you buy a sofa, then you don't want to buy another sofa in a week. However, if you buy shampoo, then you're more likely to buy it. So understanding if you're a replenishable product or not, that would be one of the, I would say, the first division I would start doing. And depending on which one it is, then you activate different triggers. So if you're buying food for your dog, then most likely you're gonna keep on buying it. Maybe you change the flavor, maybe you change the packet size. But for example, package size was one of the things that product intelligence help us with, because if you buy a 1 kilo one, it's not the same as buying 2 kilos. So that helps us understand when do we have to send an email for replenishment of that product. So that's more the replenishment size. But then for the other products that you also want to sell, then showing alternatives. Some people go in, but they didn't buy in the end because they're checking different options, as everyone should. But you found a similar product that they should be interested. Maybe you know by the products they viewed or clicked that they're more into colorful clothes, and they looked at this black sneakers, and then you say, but you didn't manage to see these green ones I have. So because you know that you're more into colors and you want some shoes, then this is where product intelligence makes the relationship and sends you the alternative to what you have seen. So it's more about product intelligence helps us see what does the customer actually want and when does it actually want it.
Yeah, and then we can do that without sort of asking you to set up all sorts of convoluted flows in your ESP or whatever you use to build the flows.
Exactly, and then also there's a part of maybe you clicked and you viewed and you bought, and there's some products that are replenished, and then there's some others that you would not replenish. Then there's a mix of emails you're going to be sending, and that we also fine tune. No one wants to receive 20 messages from the same web shop every day. So knowing when to send them and exactly what emails to send. Then that's and filter what emails you're going to send. That's also a product agent thing.
Yeah, I think I said before that we're essentially building agents for the merchants, but they are also serving the shopper in the end. The shopper just wouldn't know that they have had an sort of agent run for them in the background. So where do you see it? I mean, who do the agents belong to in this case? Is it the merchants or the shoppers, or do they sit in between them?
I think the agents help the shop understand what does the customer want, but it also helps the shopper to find the products they actually need. And I do see a future here in, they're talking about all this hyper-personalization. And I think before it was the shopper who had to go to the shop and buy. Now she can go into the phone and shop online. So I think the shop is getting closer to the shopper. So now we're in a point where you as a customer, you have to go into the online shop and see what you want to buy. But I think the near future is more the shop coming to you, knowing what you want to buy and making it available and easy to see for you.
If, for example, if you were to explain this to a friend of yours, how will this matter to a shopper online? If they're buying stuff online, this new product agents thing, why will that make a difference for you as a shopper?
So before, when you wanted something as a shopper, you had to go to the shop. Whereas now you literally have the shop in your phone. And I think this next step, if you mix it with hyper-personalization, is the shop literally coming to you and telling you, this is what you want, this is the price we have it, and this is exactly when you want it. And it's gonna make it even easier for you, this shopping experience.
Yeah, so you're getting to a point where you won't just get generic product recommendations in your email marketing, but ones that sort of fit your preferences exactly and at the right time and so forth.
Exactly. You
Is
don't
that
want
what
to be, yeah, you don't want to be browsing in order to find. You more or less always want the same type of clothes. You want the same type of products, maybe changing them a bit. So this shop coming to you directly with what you know will save you time, will make it easier, and it will be a click.
Yeah, that makes sense. Great. We're serving a huge variety of different stores in different countries and different sectors and industries and so forth. So that obviously means that different e-commerce businesses will want to communicate in quite different ways depending on what types of products they sell and what type of company they are, what kind of brand they want to communicate and so forth. How are we sort of handling that in emails, in product agents, all of that variation that they will need?
So yes, we talked a lot about personalizing the email for the user based on what they bought, what they've seen, but there's also personalization from the brand, and I think that's important too. It's a one-to-one communication. It's not just telling users, is also from the brand. That's important to add. So yes, we align with the tone of voice, we align with the language we're talking about, but also our customers can align their brand voice into it. They can say what it means for them, be friendly, what messages they want to get into their email so that it comes from them to their users, not a general friendly message.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of brands will just be super sort of keen to retain the brand sort of promise and tone of voice and so forth. So I think what matters to me as a marketer is that we're doing absolutely everything we can in this product to let our customers communicate in the exact same way as they've always done and what they've used to build up their e-commerce brands over time.
Exactly.
Cool. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you a question about your own personal favorite e-commerce business. Is there a store that really stands out for you that's doing something interesting?
Yeah, I'm gonna go close to home. It's called S'more. Is a running brand in Spain. It recently just started, and they don't even have a shop. So what we talked about, the shop before, you had to go to a shop, and now it's online in your phone. Well, I can see more and more e-commerce directly starting with an online web. You don't have to have a shop now. And the way this company started was an influencer, a girl who runs a lot and who does a lot of sport. And instead of, she created a community of people that are like her. So I don't really need to know exactly who you are, but I know the products you're gonna like. And she created like this fashionable running brand that I think she found a cluster of people. And she did the products for that cluster of people, and I just thought it was a nice way to get yourself into the market.
Yeah, that's great. We've had other guests on Hello Retail Conversations that talked about the importance of the sort of the DNA of the store, that you really differentiate to that community you're serving, and don't just be yet another generic online store.
So in product agents is something we take care of, in the sense we want to make sure it comes from you, not from some generic store, you said. So yeah, I think maintaining the DNA in this world that is getting broader and broader, it's still important. So yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. It was super interesting to hear a bit more, or a lot more actually, about what's going on behind the scenes of our new product launch. And thanks a lot for joining and talking about your daily work, as well as everything that you've been involved with in the sort of the development of product agents.
Thanks a lot for inviting.
And thank you for watching. So We'll be back next time with a conversation with an external guest. But again, today we wanted to do a bit of a special because of the launch of product agents. So thanks again, Sarah, for that.